This month, Palestinians who endured brutal beatings and sexual abuse at the hands of the Israeli occupation forces and settlers shared their painful testimonies at the United Nations. Saeed Abdel Fattah, a 28-year-old nurse from Al-Shifa hospital who was detained in November 2023, described his ordeal. "I was humiliated and tortured," he said. He recounted being stripped naked in the cold and subjected to beatings, threats of rape, and other forms of abuse over 2 months in an overcrowded detention center. In January 2024, he recalled one particularly brutal incident. "I was like a punching bag," he said. He explained that the interrogator repeatedly struck him in his private parts, causing severe bleeding. "I was bleeding everywhere," he said. Fattah gave his testimony during a public hearing by the UN's Independent Commission of Inquiry on the situation in the occupied Palestinian territory. Experts and advocates testified about a systemic pattern of sexual violence against Palestinians in detention, at checkpoints, and in other settings. Palestinian lawyer Sahar Francis explained that all Gaza detainees were subjected to strip searches. In some cases, soldiers used sticks to abuse prisoners. She described sexual abuse as occurring on a large scale, particularly in the war's early months, stating, "I think you can say most of those arrested in this period were subjected to such practices." The abuse isn't confined to Gaza or Israeli occupation forces, as testimonies also revealed how Israeli settlers have tortured Palestinians. Muhammad Matar, a West Bank resident, recalled being tortured for hours by settlers and Israeli security agents as police refused to intervene. Just days after October 7, he and other activists went to protect a Bedouin community from settler attacks. As they left, a group of settlers, along with members of Israel's Shin Bet agency, captured them. They were blindfolded, stripped to their underwear, and tied before being dragged into a stable. Matar said the leader of the group stood there and told him to eat the feces of a sheep. For nearly 12 hours, he and others were beaten, humiliated, and tortured. "I cried, 'Just shoot me in the head,'" Matar said. One of the men repeatedly tried to assault him with a stick. Matar later showed a photograph taken by the settlers which showed 3 men lying blindfolded in their underwear, surrounded by settlers. Other photos showed Matar's body fully covered in bruises. After the ordeal, Matar described being in a state of psychological shock and said he never imagined such cruelty. The UN investigations into these abuses concluded that Israel's actions in Gaza meet the definition of genocidal acts. The Commission found that Israel deliberately targeted and destroyed vital reproductive health facilities, including Gaza's main fertility center, which was attacked in December of 2023, destroying around 4,000 embryos. This destruction, alongside the blockade that prevented access to crucial medications for pregnancy and childbirth, was found to be aimed at preventing births among Palestinians, constituting genocidal acts. The Commission also noted that Israeli forces have used sexual violence as a strategic war tool, subjecting Palestinian women and girls to forced stripping, sexual harassment, and assault. The impact of these acts was devastating, causing not only immediate physical harm, but also long-term mental health trauma with irreversible consequences for the reproductive futures of Palestinian women. These abuses were deemed crimes against humanity, with the Commission concluding that Israel's actions were part of a broader effort to destroy the Palestinian group as a whole. The destruction of Gaza's reproductive and healthcare facilities, including the Al-Basma IVF Center, and the deliberate targeting of women and girls were not isolated incidents, but a coordinated strategy aimed at eliminating future generations of Palestinians. The world is deeply hypocritical, because this is not the first investigation since October 7, 2023 to reach such conclusions. These are not the first testimonies to be shared, and evidence is readily available all over the internet. Yet it remains astonishingly easy for the insolent international community to believe the refuted allegations of rape by the Palestinian resistance fighters on October 7, while dismissing the mass rape of Palestinians despite the overwhelming evidence surrounding it.